new system on this show where it just looks really natural and casual to start with. And then we go like this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Epic Flail, live at you on a Monday. We've got show notes. This is a very serious production. We have notes. I have a piece of paper. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the new points deduction, which has been proposed by the excellent website Goonhammer. Spend a lot of time looking at Goonhammer. I do enjoy it. And they've written an article on there which is called Stop Competing, Our Broken Approach to Misplay and Cheating in Competitive 40k. So we're going to evaluate and talk about that. We're going to discuss, do we need this? Well, we're going to discuss that at the end, actually. We're going to go through what the points deduction looks like. We're going to talk about some pros and cons. And at the end, if we've got time, we're going to talk about, does 40k need this? So we're at the point where 40k is needing to reevaluate its system, and does 40k unfortunately have somewhat of a cheating problem? We are delighted to be joined by Luke, who is a tournament organizer and judge. So what better person to be reviewing this proposed point deduction with us? Welcome, Luke, my friend. Oh, you have got yourself up, look. You can just see me waving paper at you.
How do I get rid of that? That's it.
That should do it. Welcome to folks that are joining us live on today's show.
Hello.
I'm going to keep doing that like Anchorman. Just flicking through all the time.
Like a what?
Anchorman. How you doing, Luke? How you keeping, my friend?
Yeah, I'm well good, man. I'm well good. Loving life. Life. You all
good.
right?
I'm doing all right, I'm ticking over very nicely, my friend. I'm looking forward to talking with you about this very subject. At the end of the video, we're going to be doing a members-only stream. And in that members-only stream, Luke and I are going to be reviewing the Brighton League. We're going to be talking about our lists, how our lists are doing, how our games have gone. Oh, and there's this bag. I don't know what's in this bag.
Mystery bag.
There's some kind of mystery bag that... There's a mystery bag that I've got to open.
Yeah. Well,
so someone did...
birthday soon, isn't it?
It is my birthday next week. I'm not looking forward to being... Well, it's just not good, actually. It just makes me... It gives me an instant feeling of despair.
Oh, there was a genuine...
I might need to get Georgia out.
There was a genuine look of pain in your eyes there, Paul.
Wasn't there?
You remembered you got your birthday.
Yeah. This is G3PO that I was bought the other night.
That looks a lot.
Adam L, who's a great lad who we've been playing... Me and Adam L have been playing a lot of Space Marine. So I've got Georgia G3PO that just joins me and supports me through this. Do you know why it's an issue that's sensitive? And we will address this in the members only section. Tom Hampshire made me read out the other day, Paul, you have been ravaged by the sands of time. And I keep playing Space Marine on the Discord, and then people keep pressing. They've made it into a soundboard on the Discord. So anytime I'm sat there just enjoying Space Marine, all I hear is this. Paul, you've been ravaged by the sands of time, in my own voice.
Your own voice. That's the worst
which sends me insane. Oh, wait, there's one more thing. Consider being a member of the channel. If you become a member of the channel, you get access to members-only content, like the discussion we are having after this very podcast. She gets taller, you see, as I do that. I've got to try and make it taller.
Waiting for you to let go of it.
Yeah, straight to your wrist, very flat. Yeah, you get loads of extra members-only content, and you get access to our wonderful Discord and community, which I think, Luke, is the best damn community in the world.
Damn right.
Sorry, Georgia. I shouldn't bang Georgia on that. All right, chat, how you doing? How are we all keeping? You're looking after yourselves on this lovely Monday evening? Luke, let's get into this, my friend. Let's get straight into this. At the end of the video, we're going to revisit the question that a lot of our minds very much love going to on this program, and that is, does 40k have a cheating problem? But before we get there, we are going to dive into what Goonhammer have put on the table. Luke, my friend, give us a quick overview of what exactly we're going to be discussing here when it comes to their suggestions and thoughts.
Binning off yellow and red cards.
I'm going to get it up on the screen as well.
Yeah. So they were suggesting from the title of the article that the current system for disciplinary action, shall we say, in 40k events is somewhat broken.
Somewhat of an issue.
Yeah, it doesn't really work, not fit for purpose. And they've come up with some ideas how to tackle that. Alternatives to just saying, oh, yellow card, red card.
At the moment, as a TO, what is the current system if someone is being a little bit naughty and cheating at an event? What happens?
Just get a bit of a telling off, don't you? And then
you go, hey,
oi.
None of that.
that stuff
have a word
that
with
you did,
yourself.
Can you try and not do that again? Thanks. It's genuinely difficult because you got to be fair and not biased. And oftentimes people will complain to me about something, and it is a complaint, not in a they said this, but they're unhappy about something.
Yeah.
And you got to try and distance yourself from that emotional side of it, and not be like, oh yeah, going on a witch hunt now. And
That is quite fun witch hunting, I must
yeah.
admit. Like, it is a bit of fun, but you shouldn't really do it as a tier.
You got to be impartial, and yeah. But at a tournament, and it's the same whether you go to games, a shop, or maybe not a games workshop because not that they run events really, but like a store tournament or even something like the LVO. It's essentially the judge looks at what's gone on, tries to figure out what's gone on, and then will either give you a warning, some sort of points deduction, and then if it's really, really bad, a yellow or red card.
Everyone in the chat be really honest now, and me and you, Luke, you ready for some real honesty? Have you ever had a warning at a tournament or a gaming event? And everyone in the chat, I want you to take a real good look at yourself now. A real good look at yourself and ask if you've ever had a warning. Luke?
Warhammer, no. Magic the Gathering, yes.
You've had Magic's so unfair though, because like if your opponent, you both get told off, don't you?
Yeah.
It's harsh.
Yeah,
Magic.
but I forgot how my cards work.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Just missed a trigger. That benefited me, and I got a warning.
Liam Jordan said he's given them out, but he's never been given one. Get out. You're right, Dodgepot. I've had a warning.
Yeah.
At a War Machine event once.
What for? What were you not doing?
I think I was cheating.
I think
I can't remember.
Spoken like someone who knew full well that they were cheating.
No, I can't remember what it was now. I can't remember what it was, but I just remember I played one year.
Right.
I went to
we're all friends
WTC
here.
and I played in this singles event, and I think something got mixed up, and then the judge came over and warned us both.
There's more to this.
Well, the judge didn't like me because the year before I was singing a song about him. So basically, all the judges had. I should have got a warning for this actually, because this was pretty bad. Like Liam Jordan will back me up. This genuinely happened. This was pretty bad because it was a massive event. All the judges had walkie-talkies.
Yep.
And I got one of the walkie-talkies and I sang a song about the head judge down it, calling him a C-bomb. And it just like, so it was literally all around the hall, this massive venue. And me and my mate, we were laughing out of me and Jim Gradwell. And then we just went, tell Paul and Jim they've got a yellow card. And I was like, get lost. Good old Jason Enos. Teddy Rhubarb's in the chat. Powerful name. Come on, some of you lot in the chat have definitely been given a warning. Come on. So at the moment, you get a bit of a telling off, basically. And we know from covering cheating on the show, my favourite subject is cheating.
Yep.
The dynamics of people cheating is just superb. It's always good content. Cheating is super content.
Yeah.
Because it reveals a little bit of human psychology, which I've always enjoyed.
The dank underbelly.
Yeah. I think that's the most interesting part about gaming. Sorry for moving my microphone around. I think that's the most interesting part about gaming. The game's fun, but like just how the two players interact. Oh, wait, I just remembered another time. I stormed out when I completely lost it. In one of a fellow Epic Flailer many years ago. He just went, I was winning really convincingly. I think it was a quarter final.
Yep.
And it was when I first started playing. So it was like, I'd never done very well in any events. This was like a big,
I love this.
Yeah. And then I was like, and he was called Mark. He's a great friend. He's a lovely lad. And he was like, I'm going to just try and kill your caster. And I went, don't do that, Mark. I was like, come on. And I was joking, but I wasn't. I was like, come on. Don't try and downtown kill my caster, please. Downtown. And he did. And he killed him. And I just, right, that's it. I just walked out, I just went for a walk, disappeared for half an hour. Yeah. I came back. I was like, I'm pretty sorry about that behaviour there, Mark. Sorry, mate. I completely lost my mind. Anyway, let's get into this. I can't believe still no one's admitting to cheating. Oh, TTB says, I got a warning at a chess event once, but that was for smoking a joint outside. Zero Influence says, Luke, what would you do at your event if someone sang a song about you being a C-bomb? Who would do such a thing, Zero? What would you have done to me if I did that at your event? You'd embrace it.
You'd get a spot prize.
There you go. That's why I got that back.
I know that I'd politely remind you there's no cameras in the stairwell. It's very it's a trip hazard with all those pints up and down the stairs.
No, I believe you, mate. You'd get your two fists to do the talking. Right. The limitations of the card system. So at the moment, it is just a case of like you do something wrong, you get in a little bit of trouble. There's this kind of concept of you get yellow carded, and then if you carry on, you can get red carded and then disqualified from the event. And then after the event, there's a bit of like should we witch hunt them online and ban them forever?
You've raised an interesting point that Goonhammer talk about in this article with some of the stuff that you've been carded for there. Because you asked the question, has anyone been caught cheating or got cards? But actually what you've described is not cheating, but it's a bit of like misconduct.
It's a little bit, my issue is misconduct rather than cheating. I don't cheat, but I've prone to misconduct.
And that's part of what they're trying to unpack with this thing here, because they're saying that if you got a complex game and you've got a system that is penalising things like that, where you, even though it's funny, like it warrants a yellow card if the judge feels like it.
Yeah,
they weren't happy with it, if they didn't think it's funny, whatever. And is that the same as misrepresenting something on your list by mistake or forgetting to do something in a game? No, they're very different things. Yet the current system, that's the inherent flaw being highlighted, is that's a misconduct thing, whereas this is a bit different. Yeah. So how does it all work? How does it
it's just you saying that out loud. The current system clearly isn't great. Like that, there's no differentiation there, is there?
No. That's the problem. I always go back in my mind. That's why I mentioned it on purpose. Like Magic the Gathering, they have a very rigid infraction policy. If you draw an extra card, there is a defined thing that happens. And also, they have it at different competitive level events. You draw an extra card at the Pro Tour, you've probably just lost that game. You draw an extra card at a Friday Night Magic down your local store. It's a little slap on the wrists. Don't do that again. You know, it's very different depending on where you're playing, which is another thing that I don't think is really fully realised in 40k, is the understanding that when you're...
Sorry, I'm being very distracting to Luke.
All right. When you're playing casual competitive versus something competitive, so like a golden ticket event, there's more you're playing for all the marbles versus just playing at an RTT, and so the difference between penalty should probably be different, but there's nothing written down to do that. It's all at the judge's discretion, which makes it super hard.
It does, yeah. Well, you just kind of expressed that earlier, didn't you, when I said what's the system? You're like, yeah, it is quite difficult. You have to kind of step away from feelings, and often like a lot of judges running events where they kind of got mates there and they know everyone, and it's just not this. It's just one of the problems with the current system is it's so unclear. It's a bit like chess clocks.
Yeah,
everyone knows it's important, but no one really knows how to enforce it or what to do with it. There's this like awkwardness that's just not discussed around it. Yep. I still like, even people at the moment, people keep saying to me, actually, they're playing on chess clock now. Loads of people playing on chess clocks. Like, it's definitely becoming more of an active thing, but there's still no rules on like, if it's on your time and I'm asking you a question, do you put it back on my time? It's just this like, it's so woolly, and this is a bit like that. It's kind of like woolly system. So Goonhammer are basically proposing something to deal with that. There's kind of two things that they put forward. The first is kind of similar to the current setup, isn't it, Luke? Oh, wait, I wanted to do this. I just always wanted to do that. Actually, there's some...
Oh, yeah, we passed.
There's actually notes on that, yeah. Feel free to throw it over your shoulder at any point. It looks like you're...
a while ago, to be fair. I just thought I'd look nice and...
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I thought that was good preparation, actually.
It was. You give me a pen to hold as well.
I gave you... All I can do to stop... That's my best pen.
Yeah. I haven't broken it.
Right, I'm going to read something from the chat. I'm going to go on and get into what Goonhammer are proposing, but I'm going to read... Liam says... Liam Jordan, welcome. It's no different to football, though. Kicking an opponent is a yellow card. Calling a ref a C word, yellow card. And CTB said, it's all right to say it's G3PO when you sit on your shoulder, but there's something a bit off-putting when you start fiddling with her and stretching her legs out. Okay. That's a very fair point. I will leave her alone. I'm sorry, everybody. I mean, you can't really... yes, that is the case in football, Liam, but football's a little bit of a different game, isn't it? It's like fast-moving, and it's just one game. So, like, I feel that's different to 40k. Where the problem with the 40k is if you're cheating in a game of football, normally you get caught by the ref and warned, and if you do it again, see you later. Get cheating in 40k, it's like everybody has to speak to each other to work out that you've been dodgy all the games, or someone has to let the judge know. It's like, I think the problem Goonhammer outlining is you can kind of like get away with it a little bit in lots of games, and that's probably not okay.
If you 2-foot someone at football,
Yeah.
you've 2-footed someone. It's very obvious you've done that.
Yeah.
That's breaking the rule, or you've tried to do something that you shouldn't do. It's easy. It's there. You can see it. Whereas saying, "Oh, this unit has got a special rule," and misplaying that. Oh, I thought it did.
Honestly, I reckon it happens so much.
Yeah, it probably happens all the time.
So much of this little Rob says, what if I call Geppetto a C word on Sunday? There's a lot of questions to Luke, just basically saying, what if someone calls you the C word, guys? I think we can do better than this for questions.
I'd die a little bit inside. I don't know.
Is there an event on Sunday?
Yeah, going to Portsmouth. I did put it in the...
Oh, you're off to Pompersmouth?
Pompey, yeah. Off to Pompey.
Who's going to Pompey with you? Robertos?
Yep, ham sandwich.
Is Ham going as well?
Yep.
I'm in Dublin, that's why I can't go. I think I did say that.
And there's this other guy called Liam. He's going. Don't know if you've heard of him.
I don't know any Liams. Zero Influence says, should warnings at the tournament differ between accidental and intentional cheating? Spot on, my friend. So this is what Goonhammer are putting forward, okay? Goonhammer are putting forward... Adverts, go away. Brilliant, Luke. That is fantastic what you've just done there on the piece of paper. That is... Don't hold that up to the camera.
I was going to give it one of them at some point and just see if you'd noticed.
Well, you have to lift it up higher, do it.
Oh.
We'll reveal it properly at the end. That's very, very immature from Luke there.
Too eagle-eyed you are.
Very well. What's he crafting there? That look, yeah, and it is. What's Geppetto making? If you leave him for long enough, he just starts building stuff. Right. So this first suggestion would be the existing card system, right? It's like it's basically the existing card system mixed in with a little bit of point deductions.
Yeah.
So if you do something, so nothing changes. That if you do like a deliberate play fault, i.e., misrepresenting the rules, cheating by other means, you get a yellow card and an automatic game loss. So that's kind of the standard now.
I think as well to some of the things that you were saying earlier with any kind of violence or threats or property damage, most people will just be like, "That's you just throw you out." Like that's it. Like there's never going to be. There's obvious things like if you start mouthing off to people, you just be asked to leave. Like goodbye. There's automatic black flag from the event.
Ross, I'm sorry, I forgot that was your event. It's Ross's event on Sunday.
Yeah.
Ross. And then, flagrant misconduct. So, organiser, judge, determined fault, repeated yellow cards, and you get a red card. Nothing changed. However, for things like a technical fault, so list error, a late submission, -5 victory points per instance, a misplay, so inappropriate rule use, illegal move or action, -10 points. It says players may be able to acknowledge and correct this for themselves without penalty. Okay, so there's a little bit of flex there. And it may be something that could even be downgraded. Fine.
Yeah, because if I say, oh, this is how this works, and you go, shut up. No, it's not. Oh, okay, fine. You just crack on.
Yeah.
And you just, and a lot of stuff like that happens in all games all the time. Like, you just gloss over it. It's stuff gets caught. And I imagine this system would be at the point in which you catch the fault. So if the technical faults had been identified before the tournament, you'd be -5 in your first game, something like that.
I'll just try to keep a straight face in, because that question in the chat that's been asked by Ross, that is an absolutely wild and incredibly inappropriate.
Chat's not working on my phone, so
it's just an incredibly inappropriate question.
Okay.
And so, you guys are characters. Yeah. Martin Landwing says, okay, here's one for you to think about it like this. Every time someone gets caught, how many times did they commit the infraction without getting caught? It's just like any other criminal. That's kind of the part of the issue, isn't it? It's like if you repeat offenders, you get away with it in 1/40,000.
The same thing still stands though, because if they believe a rule worked a certain way, they are going to continue. Then that narrative tracks, no matter what. Doesn't matter what the intent is.
Agree. So you would also get player misconduct, so poor sportsmanship, angle shooting. I love how this angle shooting thing comes up every now and again. Everyone thinks that's a different thing. Angle shooting's when you're like cheesing. Angle shooting's when you're like trying to claim that there's a shot there when there isn't. When there's an angle when there isn't. That's it, isn't it? No?
Yeah.
Why are you saying like I'm wrong? You're like...
It's like a poker term.
Yeah.
I think it can be. I think angle
So
shooting can
poker.
take many things. So like one
Yeah,
time.
this is why.
One time, someone said to me, "Oh, it's turn." I didn't bring reserves on turn 3, and I went to do my first shooting phase, and I went, "Oh no!" Before I even rolled the dice, "Oh yep, silly me, haven't brought my reserves on." And the person went, "They're all dead." Without batting an eyelid, and I said, "No, I'm bringing my reserves on." He's like, "No, they're all dead. You've moved into your shooting phase. That's it." So I view that as angle shooting because he saw a way to kill all my stuff for
This
free.
is what happened last time I said the word angle shooting on the stream.
Yeah.
Me and a bunch of other people, probably high IQ people, said it was when you're claiming there's angles out there, but then someone was like, no, I think it might have been you in the chat where it's a poker term, you idiot.
It is a poker term, yeah.
So we've just relived a past episode there. So you would get minus 20 points for that, so for play misconduct, and then there would still be the yellow card, the red card. Option number 2 that they're putting forward is it's just points, it's point deductions, but eventually if it gets over 25 points, then it's a game loss.
Cumulative.
And if cumulative, then a game loss. And if over 40 points cumulatively, you get disqualified from the whole event. Chat, what do you think to this idea? It's quite new, it's a bit different. Luke, what's your take while chat are writing their essays for me?
I'm not going to get hung up on the amounts and all the rest of it, but I like the ethos behind penalising what's actually happened. So you've got a rule wrong, there's a penalty associated with that. I don't care what your intent is, you failed to maintain a correct game state. And because the rules are the ones that you own, and it is a clear, if it's to do with your army, then you're getting the punishment. If it's both players getting like a mission card wrong or both agreeing something wrong, then there is scope then to punish both players accordingly. And I'm at that point not interested in trying to figure out who's cheating, but rather penalise players for not maintaining a correct game state. And that's the language that I think for a lot of this nonsense that exists in 40k, that's the mentality that needs to be there. Because it's not about a witch hunt for someone cheating, because I don't believe people are cheating until I can see them directly doing something.
Oh, they're cheating.
Then no, well, I don't believe that. Then that's always been my approach, and I quite like that, because then there's no argument there. Again, to talk about magic, that's why I quite liked that, even though I've received warnings for things that I've done wrong and I felt had been harsh at the time. It's like, well, did I do the thing wrong? Yes. Well, then that's why you're getting what you're getting. I didn't submit all my basic lands when I built a sealed deck, even though it was very clearly, I just forgot to add them on. I got a game loss for it. They just said to me, can you spot what you've not done? And I straight away was like, and he just, without batting an eye, that's a game loss. And my opponent was just sitting there, like, it was all just very normal. It's just what you have to do. And that's on me to basically get good and not make those kind of mistakes.
So you think that kind of like play state, that should exist in the 40k environment? Just give us give us a real world example of what that might look like at an event.
Incorrectly tracking your CP. So if you haven't,
both this is an example of both players being like, what, you should have known that. Yeah.
What CP am I on? What do you mean? What CP am I on? Why don't you know what CP you're on? Why haven't you tracked that? That's then, because then if you're someone who's cheating, you've got a scope there to say, oh, I'm actually on 2. Oh, I had you as 1. No, it's 2. Versus we're both tracking it. No, matey, you are on 1 CP. I've been tracking it here. Yeah. And that's, if there's disputes or if you've incorrectly noted that, then that should carry some sort of penalty at competitive levels.
What the chat think? Adam's just put knock in the chat a minute ago. That has given me absolute PTSD to the other night when we were playing Space Marine and there was this stupid soundboard that was so loud. It genuinely felt like there was someone in that cupboard, and I fell for it, and everybody thought it was very entertaining. I'd muted my microphone. I was saying, "What, Georgia? What?" And they were like, "It's a soundboard." Crackbone123, powerful name. Welcome, my friend. Good to see you on the show. The punishment should obviously be being forced into a penitent engine. It is. Yes. Is this 40k or not? Fair point. Ross says, my experience is that it's rare the penalties for cheating are severe enough to discourage it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's maybe part of the problem here, isn't it? That there's just not it's kind of like,
because
it's all a bit fluffy. Do you know what I mean? It's all a bit fluffy.
That's my point though. Is I don't, with a lot of this silly stuff. If even okay, say this existed, say a point system existed where if you weren't maintaining certain things right in the game, for most people, you just wouldn't. Half of it wouldn't even be brought to a judge's attention. Wouldn't be recorded. Like it's just there is a way to ensure that you're maintaining the correct game state. So if you're misrepresenting your rules, it's not saying you're cheating, but you're not playing properly. You're not maintaining a correct game state. That, again, I bring it back to that.
And that's the logic with Magic. I guess the question I have around this as a thing is 40k as a game ready for that kind of oversight? Because like I agree with you. No. I've played loads of Magic the Gathering, and yeah, like the rules there are really tight. But then the game is so tight, like so ordered. It's such a structured game. If a judge is like, okay, you both forgot that trigger, that you're both getting a warning, you're like, oh yeah, that's so obvious. Whereas 40k, there's like so much going on. I think the board state is in a constant, but both players probably at most of the time should be on a warning because it's just chaotic. So I think the intention is great.
So much more robust. If that scenario happened,
true.
Something serious, they'd mark it on the match slip.
Yeah.
So by the time Mr. Johnny Tryhard was getting his third or fourth warning, it's like, oh, this is the third time we've had to warn you about this specific interaction. Congratulations, now you're getting a gain loss.
Whereas 40k, some people are kind of like known for cheating a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, that's cheaty guy. That's such and such a guy. It's like, oh, right. It's become like part of their like brand, like their identity. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because it ends up just being word of mouth and it's like this collective. Anyway, we're going to talk about that at the end. I'm going to read some comments from the chat in a second. I think this is a really good idea. There's nothing wrong with this idea. This as a like, oh look, how do you clamp down on cheating? This is a good idea. My worry is that the game's so complicated, people do make faults all the time. Like basically the technical fault bit, the list error late submission. I mean, there's not much excuse for that. Like you're not like, oh, that was a misplay. No, come on, get your listing on time and make sure it's correct. Fine. And I also think the same for like the extreme. So like misconduct, fine. Like the things like this is like, if you behave in a way that's
C-bomb down the walkie-talkie,
If you sing a song at a judge with a C-bomb in, then you probably should. What? Wait. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally get this one. However, this bit misplay fault is the bit I have an issue with, or I would raise a question over, and that's because 40k is really complicated and there's lots going on. I mean, not really complicated to the point where it's unplayable. It's great. It's a good game. But there's a lot happening. Yeah. Lots of different times and there's a lot to keep track of. And it also at the moment like is taken very seriously and a lot of people are really, 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 really trying to get golden tickets and finish well at events. They're desperate to get on WTC teams. It's a very competitive environment. It's not like, oh yeah, it's just super chill. It's like X-Wing. Everyone's quite chill, although I'm sure you get some spiky people next week. But but the scene, the Warhammer 40,000 scene is getting more and more competitive.
Yeah.
And tighter. It's getting tight. It's getting harder and harder to get through. So, I worry that for the misplay fault bit, it'll be abused a little bit. Not in a like kind of flip the cheating idea on its head a little bit. That people will be looking out for things that people do wrong. To then flag and go, listen, it's not up to me, it's up to the judge.
Or like
but I think that was an illegal move that he just did. Or they'll let something slip and go, oh, last turn, I actually think that was a misplay. Should we just get a judge? And then a judge will come over and they'll go, look, I think that this illegal move. And the judge has to go, okay, well, that's minus 10 points. And that swings the game. So, 10 points is, that's so many points.
But if they've done something wrong, that's impacted the outcome of the game. If you lost a game because of that 10 point, if you were going to lose, the game,
you'd feel bad. You'd feel bad. Yeah, no. I'm not justifying the cheating. It's a sensible suggestion. I just think that it will impact it would impact tournaments pretty heavily. I think, and judges would be like, "This is going to be a shift today." Like a lot of people are going to be calling us over and asking questions, and it incentivizes a points deduction system. rather than just making sure your opponent gets everything right and being on it, it incentivizes them actually making the mistake. So, like, if me and you are playing and I spot you doing something wrong, I'm incentivized to be like, whoa, check the rule. Check the rule. In this kind of world, I think it builds a mentality where it's kind of like, listen, mate, if you play it and it's wrong, we'll check at the end of the turn, or I'll flag it in a bit and go, I think you might have got that wrong. It doesn't incentivize mutual cooperation. And I think a lot of people will mutually cooperate, but we know that Warhammer 40,000 is getting very gamey. People...
Yeah, I suppose all I can say to that is get your rules right, and then you won't be on the foul end of that. Because if you're not doing anything wrong, then you won't have someone trying to...
Well, I don't disagree with that logic, but people I get things wrong all the time. Like, I reckon if, at the King and Queen tomorrow, which we're talking about in the members show after this, we're going to go through the leagues and talk about the games we played, look at people, how they're doing, and all sorts of stuff. I reckon, like, nearly every game someone will have misplayed through the course of the... You know, if it was like fine-tooth combed, I reckon most people would be like, I got that thing wrong, got the other.
Different league, though, isn't it?
What do you mean different league?
It's not the same as playing at LGT, for example, is it? Just down.
Well, I think
at
the King and Queen,
night.
but I think at the King and Queen, people are as put in as good an effort in as they are. I think. What the chat?
You've seen my army list, yeah.
Chat's been popping off, and I've ignored you. Ignored you folks. TTB says the judges should have a blender, and any model involved in cheating play is blended for the rest of the tournament. Will it be unblended after? Says characters. Crackbone, for context's sake, what kind of tournament are we talking about? Are we talking about a one-day friendly RTT or a GT or a bigger golden ticket on the line?
That's exactly
yeah, that's
what
a good. That's kind of.
There is a difference between those three things.
I'm right hungry. I just brought some chocolate. Zerum says, does Magic have a widespread governing body that enforces rules like this?
Yes.
If Warhammer tournaments became more universally governed, I think it's be a great idea. And I think I should run that actually. Now I've heard that out loud.
That's part of the other thing as well. Like Magic events, there is, at least there was, I don't know what it is in this day and age, but there was a judge team and you were incentivized to be a judge. What's the incentive to be a judge at an event unless you're organising it yourself?
Good point.
There isn't really one. I mean...
Good point.
Most players want to play the game. They don't want to judge.
Who wants to be a judge in this day and age?
Back in the day with Magic, you used to get like judge promos. There was like a camaraderie of being a judge, and there was levels of a judge, and there was kudos to it. There was an incentive to do it. Whereas I think people would probably worry they'd just be viewed negatively or just have a load of shit, or it would be a lot of hard work, which it would be. You're there to do the judging. You're not there to have a jolly.
In the game that shan't be named, they had a system where judges would get access to exclusive merch.
Nice.
A code that they could use on the website to get stuff.
You need a sweetener.
They just get stuff free.
Yeah.
And every event that you ran, you could apply and say, I'm running this event, and show that you're running the event. And you'd get like a pack with like certificates in and trophies and all sorts of stuff. And it meant that like judges not only wanted to do it, but they took it really serious. A lot of the judges in War Machine were like good judges because they were really into it.
Yep.
And that was kind of their thing. They were like, I'm a judge. I judge all these events. 40k doesn't have that.
No, they got nothing like that. And that's why, again, not speaking ill of UKTC in any way, but compare an event.
Worried.
I mean, we compare the events of those sizes. How many judges were there that you could see off the top of your head?
Like two 40k. Well, Anzac free.
Yeah. So obviously there's other game systems and judges there for those, but probably just a ratio of 1 to the entirety of the people that are there. Whereas a Magic event of that size, you'd have 2 or 3 times that number of judges, perhaps even more. And there'd be a head judge, whereas if there was any dispute that kind of got escalated, it would go to a head judge. Obviously in those it's Paul, but he's stretched. If stuff starts really kicking off, he can't be in 4 places at once.
Yeah, that's why this would be a problem for a lot of events.
Exactly.
It would be so
it's not
stressful.
Set up for it.
People would be shouting for it left, right, and centre.
You need a team, and in order to get a team, you need incentivised things, whatever it might be. They love throwing out the merch. Did you see the Old World blanket that they did when Old World came out? They did a set of stuff. It was literally a blanket, which was a map of the Old World.
Yeah.
You could wrap yourself up in a little map of the Old World. It was so much money as well. It was so stupid. So they do stuff like that. But yeah,
I think they'll maybe get there at some point because they are taking competitive play more seriously. They're like employing people. Think about a lot. Some absolutely wild comments in chat. Stephen says, "Do you think this could be another thing that could put people off tournaments if they were worried about making mistakes?" Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but don't forget,
especially this bit. 40k is so complicated. People will do this all the time. Come on.
Yeah, but most people just won't care. Like again, it means
that's well, yeah.
No, they won't. They won't. Like the people that are there casually, they'll make a mistake and it'll be like, "Oh, should we call a judge?" Nah, it's fine. Just sort it out.
Oh, you reckon a lot of people just don't worry about it?
That's what happens at Magic. It's
oh, really?
Like, yeah. If you people, not everyone's a dick.
So what's the point in it then if people don't enforce it?
Because you can. It's to the point that says there, like there, and one of them was if there's a little fault, but players have the scope to correct it themselves. If you catch them doing something wrong in a game, then
because you're like the CP thing, maybe. You know, like, oh, look what your CP. Oh, I forgot my CPs.
Yeah, then it's like you should probably track it.
I've been tracking it, mate. You're on 2 goal. Thanks. Fine.
Yeah.
Just a little correction.
You just move on. Yeah, most people are just not gonna nail you to the wall for every little thing. But
what about streams would be stressful under this?
Yeah.
People would be like, "That's a -5. Get a judge. That's a -5. Get a judge. Quick, get a judge." You'd be like, "Oh, Jesus." Ham says rules changes from event to event though, so especially terrain is played differently by different TOs. That's a fair point. Terrain can get confusing. You could easily misplay terrain. I think I do it every week. Every week I seem to play with different terrain rules.
As a TO living in England, I terrain is the biggest question I get on like all the time. How does terrain work? What is that terrain supposed to be? I
still don't think I understand.
You could be seen at all times. Just that's what you should see. At all times, your models are visible.
That'd be a bit of fun. What? Just a rule that follows me around?
Just yours, yeah.
No. Liam says you almost need some kind of body to record consistent cheating. Joe says I was listening to a podcast where the top player went 7-0 and then confessed there were multiple rules errors by the last game due to fatigue. Yeah, I think we might have talked about that a few episodes ago. It was a very funny episode looking at that character.
And the fatigue's real as well, which you just don't get at
Magic.
Yeah. You play Magic, you can play like 9+ rounds in day one because they're like 30 to 45 minute rounds. It's just different.
Yeah.
And you just don't have that. And just sitting down, which is a massive game changer. Yes. Standing up for 3-hour chunks at a time and then versus sitting down all day. It's a different.
Yeah, I agree. TTB, I didn't say the name, don't lie. Adam says, Paul North, liar of old world content, Macado slanderer, door knock hero, membership fee farmer, Brandon attacker, Grey Knight skill pretender, wants to run the fair play committee. Right, we will discuss that comment in the members show. Thank you, Adam, for being here. We're all absolutely delighted to have you on. Lorenzo says, and you cannot have judges, that was sarcasm, by the way, and you cannot have judges observing since they are always called for questions. Liam says, some larger TOs get codexes, battle tomes, to be able to keep up to date with products, but at the same time, that's not happened for at least a year. That is a strong...
What?
Well, the TOs don't always get the rules sent for free. So if you're a TO or a judge...
Yeah, I've got them.
What, you get them sent for free?
Yeah, you just sign up to their...
What? Well, why do I sign up? We'll do it now. What are you on about?
Yeah, you'll have to evidence that you're a TO.
Wait, is this a wind-up?
No.
They just send you the books for free?
You fill out a Google Doc and share the tournaments that you've run in the past, which they'll verify on...
Well, I'll verify. I've run a few
tournaments. Verify on BCP all the tournaments you've
Have a look on my stream.
Yeah. And then they'll get your email and then they'll process it, decide you're not a bot or a liar, and then just send you the codes for all the codices.
Really?
Yeah, I've got all the codices.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, they even...
Liam said that's not happened for maybe 18 months, though. Maybe that's just on his end.
What's not happened?
You've got the codexes and the battle tombs.
For 40k?
Well, for both, I think, yeah. Go for it, paintballing. Hello. We love a bit of paintballing on this channel, mate. Spent way too many years paintballing. Jeff says, hey, fellas, I do think that the more competitive a game gets, the more you need a proper structure. Competition brings out the worst in some people.
Yeah.
Georgia agrees.
That's like you were saying. You like the dank underbelly of the human psyche when it's competing.
Mate, it's the best thing about any...
Yeah.
People that tune in will just think I've lost my mind and not know the backstory to a lot of the things we do on this show.
Do you think
what is going on?
Do you think prize support makes people's behaviour worse?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the golden ticket thing is great. I'd love the fact that GW are doing a golden tickets, but it's a hell of a prize. Like, it's a punchy prize. Like, everybody wants a golden ticket, don't they? So
Free trip to Atlanta.
But I also think that's a good thing. I think you should get a prize if you grind your way to the top of an event. I think you should get something decent.
Yeah.
One of the biggest event I ever won in the game that shan't be named. Have I told you this?
No.
Literally the biggest event I ever won. I got a trophy. Last place got an entire army worth £400. And I was like, wow. He lost every game. Literally got absolutely smashed.
Was it a pity prize? That army's no good. You need a new one.
Yeah, it was the army of the last year's winner, Jamie Perkins Kador. Jeff says, oh no, I've read Jev's out. Crackburn, do you think 40k needs some sort of overreaching rules governing body other than GW? I mean, the problem with them is they get a bit powerful and then they upset everybody and then they fall out with GW. And I know GW are clearly trying to buy things. They've got the foot in the door with BCP. They bought Frontline, the tournament circuit. Is it Frontline? The massive tournament circuit. ITC. Yeah. They bought ITC.
Yep. They got Henry Cavill now as well.
They've bought Henry Cavill. They literally own Henry Cavill. Can you imagine owning Henry Cavill?
Just keep him in a little cage in your kitchen.
I'd have him on show. Imagine Henry Cavill on here. Do you reckon we could get Henry Cavill on the show?
Yeah, just give me a few weeks. I'll
UK live. Come on, Henry, get involved. We're just normal men, Henry, like you.
We're just normal.
I think he'd like our vibe.
What do you mean, normal men?
Did you see?
Just innocent men.
Sorry, go on.
Well, you've reminded me. It's all about vibes, right? Did you see? Maybe I don't know if you watch it on Graham Norton interview. You know, he does the show on BBC One.
Oh yeah.
He does the little chat show, very kind of old-fashioned sort of chat format. And it was like they were asking him about Warhammer, and it was proper vibes of like, you play Warhammer.
Yeah, we should watch that. We'll maybe visit that on the member stream.
Soldiers. It was so condescending.
Yeah, I hate that clip.
He did
so
well.
Much. It makes me so annoyed.
It really pissed me off.
We're going to talk. I'm going to say what I would have said back to Graham, not on the member stream. I don't think I can say it on. Ham says, can we have a members show where Luke tries to explain terrain rules to Paul and Liam? That would be a very painful show. DCB says, even if it's not every time a judge is called for a misplay, if someone is doing it consistently, then eventually the judges might have some context for any later, greater incidents. Liam says he's been left off the thing. Underworld, Adam says, at Underworld, even they were given a set of new dice for last place as clearly needed it. And Mike says, Games Workshop is not much of a governing body. They have too much money riding on selling models to be a true governing body and make the right decision.
They're a miniatures
Sobe, welcome,
first.
my friend. Welcome.
Miniatures company first.
For sure. I'm not convinced about this. I feel like there is a really clear case to be made for the current system to be looked at. But I think if you want to sort out cheating in Warhammer 40,000, you need to create a rule set which has less micromanagement of things and less things to track.
Micromanagement's good.
And
a good way of explaining it.
Measuring, like, it's just I can't get my head around still how just sloppy a lot of measurements are, even on like ridiculous tables.
Yeah.
Like literally streamed 2 UKTC events and seen like some of the best players in the country, if not the world, play, and they're great. But you still like people. It's a bit loose.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, don't worry about it, mate. It looks fine. Oh yeah, it's fine. This and the other. And I'm like, well,
if they're both happy, then it's like whatever.
Well, that's the thing. I think something like this, you raise a good point. That like if they had some like point deduction type system, a lot of people would just gloss it over and be like, "Don't worry, it's fine. I'm not going to minus 10 your points. I don't want to feel bad." Because the problem when you've got like a bit of a loose rule system, or like like the chess clock is a good example. It's not like really defined. People feel socially awkward at a table, being like, "Nah, sorry, mate. I'm going to get you on this one. I'm going to get you on this one." So if it's kind of like, if any of this is down to like interpretation, like deliberate play fault, how do you determine a deliberate play fault over a misplay fault? Like it's just conjecture. Yeah. It's just kind of like, no,
That's why I wouldn't have deliberate in there. It's just, that's why I'm saying you reward on what happened. Did you do the thing wrong? Then boom, then you get messed up. I don't care if you intended to. It's penalising what actually happened rather than the intent part. And then the intent goes away, because then if you know as a cheater, I have no room to fuck about.
I can't believe you just said an F-bomb.
I'd duck about, then you're all right, yeah. If you haven't got any
The amount of people that swear on this show at this stage is...
I thought if it went far enough into the show, then
I don't-
YouTube stops watching.
Every single word is transcribed and saved on file. They literally have got a file on us that's growing. Some of the stuff we mentioned last episode, the stuff we talked about last episode, YouTube did not like.
No.
Adam says,
I didn't.
Henry would get upset about me and TTB photoshopping in awkward situations. Yeah, if you're going to come on this show, you have to be prepared for a lot of photoshopping on the Discord.
Nah, he's got thick skin. If he sat there not giving his peace of mind to Graham Norton that show on TV,
Yeah, he's probably got thick skin.
he's got a good sense of humour.
Rob says, depends who I'm playing, Paul. Gets let off the clock out. Geppetto is being enforced hard. What? Depends who I'm playing. Paul gets let off the clock out. Geppetto is I've tried that one a couple of times now, Rob.
I think he's saying he'll enforce the clock rules if he's playing against me more, which is like low hanging fruit. Everyone says I'm a slow player, so
You got to do better.
I just got to do better.
No, to people to troll you.
Oh,
No, you got better on the clock.
yeah.
Yeah, you.
Well, half the time I'm playing new armies. I don't sit on an army for very long. I move to the next one, and then I learn new rules, and I'm like, hold on, I've got to check what my army does in this book.
TTB said Henry's career wouldn't survive our Photoshop. Superman can't be caught behind the lamb. What? Who's put a picture of a...
Oh no.
No, it's fine. No one's been up to anything yet. No, the last meme, the last picture that raises my eyebrows is the Hawk Tour girl spitting a plane onto the Twin Towers, which gives you, anybody who's not on our Discord, sets the scene somewhat.
Yep.
Ham Sandwich says Luke played a good speed when we played. Clearly, he didn't want to talk to me.
Who said that?
Tom.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Oh, lads, just to summarise it up before we jump over to the members stream in a second, talk about our list and the league. Quick, honest answer from you, Luke. Well, you don't have to make it quick, but do we need this? Does 40k have a cheating problem as a TO? As a TO living in Lansing?
Living in my own little world. It might not be exactly what they've put on the thing. I'm not going to say that's perfect, but it needs... I'll tell you actually what it needs. It needs an incentivized judge program, because then you're equipped to implement something. Whether it's this or something radically different, doesn't matter what, that would be the first step. An incentivized judge program that rewards and incentivizes you to not just turn up, tick a box and get free stuff.
Yeah.
To be a good judge and an effective judge, active in the judging community. And then it needs something that is workable to encourage maintaining a good game state at all times. And then that gets rid of a lot of this white noise. And then when people are effing about, it becomes a lot easier to be able to respond and penalise anything that people get wrong. Not because you think they're cheating, but because you've done something wrong, so that's your punishment. Shut the hell up. You did the thing wrong, so stop doing the thing wrong and you won't get a penalty. And it's not about trying to, as I said earlier, like witch hunt people. That's the three-pronged attack, I would say.
The implementation of that, do you think the 40k rule system is ready for that? Because I don't disagree with anything you've said. It's just, does that fit into the current edition?
I think it could. At the moment, sadly, it's like the carrot or the stick. If you go to an event that's not a casual event, casual events, people are just going to continue doing what they're doing, and it's not going to matter because it's casual, fun events. People, generally speaking, aren't cheating at those events. And if they are, they'll be outed by the respective community because they won't be living by the ethos of that community. But if you've got more meaningful competitive events, setting that standard will eradicate that, and it will make the system work better, because even though it is a very confusing rule set, you'll have, and that's where the good judging comes into it, because a good judge will explain, look, this isn't to penalise you, I'm not suggesting you're cheating, but you need, both players have a responsibility to maintain a correct game state. You haven't done that. It's just a part of it is about educating as well, and knowing that will happen. Because at the moment, if you go to an event and you do something wrong, you actually don't really know what they're going to do.
Yeah, it is a mystery.
It
Depends if you know the TO.
Exactly.
Like-
And you might go to one event where you've done something and they've sort of given you a slap on the wrist. You do something very similar and they give you a yellow card. That's really confusing because you're thinking, what can I... Then you might feel like you've been cheated somehow. But actually, if it's all laid out before you in the rules pack or some sort of thing, then you're going to these events with that understanding.
Yeah, I agree. Very sensible. There you go, folks. How can you argue with that?
Sorry, yeah.
Why sorry?
Well, you can't
Don't be
argue
sorry
with
for being sensible, mate. It's just a welcome change on this show. People being sensible. That's what we want.
I did draw a cock on the back of it.
You did draw a cock on the back, and now you've said the C word. Well done, Luke. Right, folks, we're going to jump over to the members stream. Thanks for joining us live on today's show. Talk about cheating next. Oh, we've got a stream on Thursday. Thursday night, I have... Who's playing? Tom is playing George. Chaos versus Tukari. George has not been on before, but Tom has many times, and he's in the chat. The what?
Spiky Boys.
Spiky Boys, yeah. Spiky Boys playing Chaos. So that's on Ham, says Ham Sandwich. That's on Ham. That's on Thursday, so that'll be chaotic as usual. So join us live on Thursday. If you're a member of the show, which many of you are, just go back on the channel and click the members only show, and we will be with you very shortly, my good friends. See you in a second. Thanks for watching.
Wave those feet at me.
Cheers, Luke. Wave the feet of Georgia. All right, guys, take it easy. See you next time. And members, we'll see you in a second.